So, I'm on my way down to Tintern in what is known as the Angithi Valley, which has this watercourse that runs down it. Never dries up, has never dried up at all in history. So, if we pan around, birds are singing, it's a beautiful day, very, very scenic, very peaceful, until we get to this. So let's take a little walk over to the signboard and tell you the relevance of this. Abbey Tintern furnace, and this is what it would look like in 1780. Now let's just zoom in. We can take a quick tour around. Now, what you're looking at here is a very, very early blast furnace. Now, the reason it's situated here is because that watercourse runs just there. Now, with the water, they can start to power things like bellows to blast air into the furnace. And this valley that I'm in, it says a cradle cradle of industry. This whole valley, at the start of the Industrial Revolution, in fact this is the start of the Industrial Revolution, would not have looked like this at all. It would have been smoky, there's numerous mills, an industry going on. Now, the thing I always find interesting is what we're looking at is the origins of shift working. Because prior to the Industrial Revolution, people would work generally during daylight hours. Come the Industrial Revolution, what changes? We're starting to make iron on a huge industrial scale using blast furnaces. Now, if you have a blast furnace, you cannot let it go cold or the fire go out, because the whole thing will just seize up and it's worthless. You have to rebuild it. So you constantly have to keep the fire going 24/7. So the reason I make the point of shift work, this is the first time people are expected to work throughout the night and during the day 24/7 in shifts, and this was because of the Industrial Revolution. Can't quite reach over, but that is where the water flowed, which would then powered a water mill effectively, and like I said, that then would provide air to blast the furnace, and possibly some other ancillary actions. Unfortunately, I haven't been down here for years, so I'm finding it fascinating coming here myself. If you look up here, if you can see, that's curved. So basically this is one of, or the, blast furnaces. So ore and coke, etc., charcoal would be poured in at the top. Over a period of time, it basically gets hotter and hotter and hotter, works its way down to the bottom, and then when you get down to the bottom level, what you do is you tap it, e.g. make a hole in it, and then out flows the iron ore, which is known as pig iron. And the reason it's known as pig iron is to form ingots, you have a bed of sand, the molten iron flows into the bed of sand down a channel, and then it goes off into separate, so it comes down a channel, then it goes off into separate little offshoots where there's a larger bit to form an ingot. The reason it's called pig iron is because it's like a pig, a sow, feeding her litter with all the litter coming off her, so hence that's where the term pig iron comes from. Unfortunately, I don't put signboards up other than the very first one. Not sure where that is or what that does. So yeah, so effectively in this wonderful wooded valley, you've got the start of the Industrial Revolution and the start of shift working. So why did they choose this location? Okay, first of all we have water, so water is used to power things. Secondly, this area is just all woodland for miles and miles and miles. So if I've got woodland, I can then make charcoal to use in the blast furnace. The other third crucial part is I obviously need iron ore. Now I'm at this point probably about a mile away from the border of England on an area known as the Forest of Dean. The Forest of Dean is heavily rich in iron ore. So here on this side of the border we have all the ingredients for making iron ore. Sorry, for making iron. Let's just go back up the steps, see if there's another view that we can get. There we go, it's looking down into the water channel that would have powered the water wheel. I'll take a little walk up here. Like I said, I haven't been here for many years myself. I've driven past it, crikey, almost every day. Maybe taking it too much for granted. It's a good exercise for me in terms of my history. If you look at the soil, you can see it's incredibly dark. That's basically because of all the soot, all the ashes, etc. that obviously would need to be disposed of. If I rummage through here, it would be very easy for me to find a bit of clinker, which is, you know, the slag, etc., the unwanted byproduct of metal making. If we come up here, it's an alignment of stones. Another building over there, could have been sort of a workshop, storeroom, etc. And then obviously there'd be an awful lot of people working here, again, working shift work. So there's remains of houses all around here, which is where the workers would have lived. So that's the very start of the Industrial Revolution and shift work.